video I'm doing an what am I doing? That ended up being a fail. I'm sorry. What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm doing an unhaul video. I haven't filmed one of these in a really long time. I have unhaul books like since my last video, but never enough, like never enough books for me to feel like I needed to do a video. But I do have like 10-ish books today that I want to unhaul because I mean my shelves are starting to overflow again and I just needed to unhaul some books, and so I thought I would do a video on these. I love unhauls videos. I just love seeing what people are unhauling. I don't know why, I just think it's so interesting. So I thought I would do this one. I think it's fun. Let me know if you want more unhaul video. I might try to do them more in groups because normally I just unhaul 1 or 2 books here and there. That's why I don't do videos, but like I said, I do have about 10 books today to talk to you guys about. Without further ado, let's get right into my video. Some of them might be controversial, some of them not. We'll see. The first one that I have is one that might be a little bit controversial, and it is A Cemetery Boy by Aiden Thomas. I read this one last year. I was super excited to read this one. I ended up not loving it. It's a good book. It's just not nothing that I would want to reread or that I want to keep on my shelf. I love the cover of it. I think it's really beautiful. It's just, I don't even know really why I bought a physical copy of this one because I read it from my library. That was kind of a dumb purchase. Like I said, I enjoyed the book. It just wasn't one of my favorites. So this is about a trans boy named Gadriel, and he is trying to summon a ghost because he wants to prove to his family that he has powers. And so he summons a ghost, but the ghost won't leave him alone, and it's a love story between them. I enjoyed this one. I just wasn't in love with it. I know a lot of people love this book, so I feel like a lot of people will be really happy to find this one at a used bookstore hardcover. It's like in perfect condition. So that's why I'm unhauling this one. So the next book that I'm unhauling is kind of in the same mindset, and I'm unhauling Root Magic by Aiden Royce. This one is a middle grade that I read last year, and I really enjoyed this one. It just wasn't anything that I would want to reread. I read this one in a reading vlog when I read Nevermore and Amari and the Night Brother. Maybe that was a disservice to this book because those 2 books I loved so much. So this one kind of ended up being a letdown. It's the last one that I read in that reading vlog. Anyways, I don't think I'm gonna ever reread that book. The cover is gorgeous, but I cannot keep a book just because of the cover. It was a really interesting book, a really cute book. It felt a little too young for me. It's about these 2 brothers and sisters. Their grandmother just passed away and the local police won't stop harassing them. But basically the story is about their uncle that is training them in root magic. So it's kind of an African-inspired fantasy world. It's a middle grade. I really enjoyed this one. I just never am gonna reread it. And I didn't love it as much as the other ones, so I'm just unhauling this one because I need space on my shelf. And like I said, someone will be really happy to find this one at a used bookstore. It's pretty much in perfect condition. So I feel like I got this one on Book Outlet, but maybe not. I'm looking at them and the covers are really pretty, but I'm unhauling them. I don't need them. It's fine. So the next 2 kind of go together. They're not a series, but they kind of, in my mind, are, and it is Cruel Beauty and Crimson Bound by Rosamund Hodge. I read this one years ago and I loved it. It was so good. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I just love this one. And then I read this one last year and I honestly cannot tell you what this book is about. I barely remember anything about this book. I hated this book. I just could not, I don't care about this book. And so I'm never gonna reread them. I mean, besides the covers being really pretty, I don't need them on my shelf. They're taking space. I did love this book, but this one was just, I don't like bashing a book, but this one I just could not care less about this book. The next one might be a controversial one, but I'm just making space on my shelf and I just don't need this one because I didn't love this one, and it is Daisy, Joan, and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is my least favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid books that I've read. I pretty much read all of them except I think one, and I loved all of them except this one. All of them were like 4.5 stars or 5 stars, and this one honestly is maybe a 3 stars if I'm being generous. I just didn't really care for that one. I think the concept of it was really cool and really interesting. I'm never am gonna reread that one. I do want to reread some other of her books, like The Seventh Husband of Evelyn Hugo is one book that I would want to reread. Even Malibu Rising. This one, I'm never gonna reread it. I just don't need it. I just didn't care. I just don't think I care for like 60s music or 70s music or whatever. See, I don't even remember what time this book is. The concept of it, like I said, is pretty interesting. It's an interview style. If I were to reread this book, it would be as an audiobook because I think that's the way to go for this book, but I just don't really need a physical copy with me on my shelf. Okay, so the next book that I have to unhaul is a book that I read last year, and it is The Wrong Family by Taryn Fisher. This is an adult thriller book. I read this one because it was one of the book troop Gabby's book club pick. I enjoyed this one. I think with this one 3 stars. I enjoyed it more than a lot of people, but that's mainly I think because I don't read that many thrillers, so for me it was good. I'm just not used to reading that many thrillers. I just feel like I'm never gonna reread that one. The plot twists were not that shocking for me. The characters, it's kind of a pretty forgettable book. I think it gave me, and I don't want to say it because it would really ruin the book for you guys, but this was really similar to another movie that I read, that I watched, and I loved the movie, and this was just a really subpar version of that movie, so it was just nothing that I'm gonna reread, and so I'm just not hauling it. I only have one thriller shelf, and it's up there. You can't even see it, and I don't have enough space on that one, so I'm cleaning up a few thrillers. On that note, the other thriller that I am unhauling is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Maniscalco. This one was it's a cozy mystery thriller. I really enjoyed that one once again, but I just don't need it on my shelf. I think it was a really fun concept. It kind of ended up being a letdown in the end because I was just expecting so much more for this book. This is a food related book, which I love. I'm such a foodie that every book that has food related to it I want to read, but they always end up being a disappointment. So I need to find some good foodie type of books about a girl who comes back to her hometown to work at her parents' restaurant, and then her ex-boyfriend comes to that restaurant and he ends up dying from food poisoning. So obviously everyone thinks she did it. Like I said, like overall there was nothing really wrong with this book. It's just not something that I would reread. It's not something that I really want on my shelf. There is a sequel to it which I do want to read one day. I might pick it up from my library or as an audiobook, so I just don't necessarily need an actual physical book of it. I'm unhauling Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. I read that one last year as well. I have a reading vlog for this one. I will link it up above. Once again, good book, just nothing spectacular. This is kind of a high 3 stars, low 4 stars, nothing memorable for me, nothing that I would want to reread. It's about this girl named Grace Porter, and she just finished her PhD, and in order to celebrate she goes to Vegas with a few of her friends, and then she wakes up the next morning and she is married to a girl that she doesn't know. And so it was pitched as a love story, as a romance book, but it really ended up not being a romance. It's really more of a women's fiction / literary fiction book. It deals a lot more, it's more of a coming of age story, coming to terms with who you are and what you want to be and you as an adult, than it is a romance. So I'm never going to reread that one. I enjoyed it. I'm happy that I read it, but I'm never going to reread it. It's not one that I'm drawn to, so this needs to leave my shelf. So the last 2 books are part of a series, and it is a series that I read so long ago and I'm never going to reread them, and it is Pivot Point. No, the first one is, what is it? You see, I don't even know what the first one is. The first one is A Pivot Point, and the second one is Split Second by Casey West. This I bought years ago. I read years ago. I remember really enjoying the first book. Not so much the second book, but honestly, sitting here, I cannot tell you what this book is about. Addison's life is one big what if. As a searcher, whenever Addie is Faced with a choice, she can look into the future and see both outcomes. Oh, it's the ultimate insurance plan against disaster, or so she thought. When Addie's parents ambush her with the news of their divorce, she has to pick who she wants to live with. Her father, who is leaving the paranormal compound to live among the norms, and her mom and her mother, who is staying in the life Addie has always known. Addie loves her life just as it is, so her answer should be easy. One search 6 weeks into the future proves it's not. I am reading it and it sounds so interesting, but I don't remember a thing. I might try to reread it and then unhaul it. I might try to vlog this. It could be fun because this is not what I remember the book being about. But actually sounds pretty good. I kind of want to reread it and then unhaul it just to see. It's pretty big. Like the font is really big. It's a YA book. It's a really old one. I am unhauling this, but I might reread it before. We'll see. That ended up being a fail. I'm sorry. So that's it, guys. Those are all of the books that I'm unhauling today. Let me know your thoughts on them. Have you read any of them? I would love to know in the comments down below. Let me know if you would want a reading vlog on these 2 books. I think it would be fun. And then I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night depending on when you're watching this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!